Okay, guys, I took a look at the Cold Steel's website today for the first time in a while, and I figured I'd go ahead and film me doing some window shopping over there. So, for those who don't know, Cold Steel was recently acquired by GCM Outdoors or GMG, I don't know, something like that. Stickman. Stick calls himself the Stick. So far, I'm not impressed at all. And I looked over here at this stuff, and then I was like, you know what? I should film this. So, trying a new video format, right? So let me know what you guys think. So, window shopping, Cold Steel. Here, we got $200 for Razor Tech 6.5-inch blade, 5mm thick. Now, I do find it interesting and cool that they're doing a 5mm or a 3mm thick, right? So you get to kind of choose that. That's cool. Looks like we're looking at hollow ground blades. I like the handle contours. I like looks like removable scales. I'm not certain about the jimping on the side. Let's look at the big one. I'm not certain about the jimping because that may or may not be effective. Sometimes that super big aggressive jimping actually isn't effective, but it's a cool idea, right? So I love hollow grinds, especially on large knives. I love that. I like the texture. That could be cool. But there's a lot of knives that fit this description here, and that's expensive, okay? You got a Cray-X handle, or you got a synthetic handle. Looks like you got a Cray or like Kydex, Cray-X, whatever sheath. Looks like you got different sizes of this. I don't know what Razor Tech is supposed to mean. Usually they try to pick names. Cold Steel typically would try to pick names that are kind of homage to something. I think Stickman just likes to pick stuff that sounds cool. Looks like removable scales. I've always thought that would be a good idea. Let me see how. That'd be a great idea for modders and stuff like that. I love it. I love that. Here's what I don't love. The blade steel. Look at that, guys. 4116 German super low quality stainless steel. Man. Okay, so it's actually not a super low quality, but it's considered a super affordable steel because it's not super strong, and it is really not designed for blades that are large like this. I mean, how long is this thing? Overall length is 11 and 5/8 inches. Okay. So I don't think that this is great. Now, it would be corrosion resistant and would be able to take an edge and hold an edge relatively okay, but you're going to do big knife stuff with it. And that blade steel was designed for scalpels. Okay? It tends to be brittle, even when I do small knife stuff with that blade steel. This is something CRKT did a while ago. You could get the Finn Bear or whatever knife from Cold Steel, made out of 4116 for like $35, and a similar size knife with a 4116 blade from CRKT, although it had nicer like rubberized handle and stuff, turned out at like $200. Look at that price, $200. You just turned Cold Steel into CRKT with this move. This isn't smart. I'd hate this blade steel for large knives. In fact, I don't even care for it because it's easily replaced by, for most people's purposes, by a CR13 MOV. And that blade steel tends to, if anything, roll, but not chip. And chipping is a bigger problem because chipping could lead to a broken blade. As we're rolling the edge means it's softer, more impact resistant. I would use it for a large knife like I would with AUS 8. AUS 8 is one of my favorite blade steels of all time, especially for large knives because it's impact resistant. So, I really hate the use of that blade steel. I really do. It's overused in big knives, and I don't get it. Now, the prices, look at the prices on the CPM 3V. Yes, that's better, and it might be really good, but I wouldn't spend $259 when I just recently bought a San Mai Black Bear Classic for $230. Do you see my issue? $479 for a CPM 3V blade. Great knife. That's a time-tested design. I don't like the price. This is ridiculous. Okay? We got some other things here. AUS 10, I love it. That's great, and that's an okay price, okay? Just stick with the AUS 8 and the AUS 10 and AUS 6 and the 8CR13 MOV for cheaper knives. Why is 4116 pocket knife costing $80? This is ridiculous. Now, I want to get into this new lock that they have here. I don't know much about it. They haven't published much about it. This is also going away from Cold Steel's habits. Cold Steel tended to put their proof out. That was what we loved about them. It's crickets. They got like a pretty girl that like swings the blade around and swings some bats around, and he kind of tries to talk about it, but he hasn't gotten into every single detail the way Lynn tended to do. Lynn understood every single contour of the blade or the handle and everything. Like these lines here in the handle, I hope that there's a purpose. I typically would think that it's Cold Steel, so those lines have a purpose. I think that they probably put them there to look cool. Now, it looks like this is kind of a thing where you pull that edge down on that back lock there. But here's a problem with that. I'm going to dig into that with my palm, or with the webbing of between my thumb and my index finger. That's going to give me a blister. Oh, it says blister packed. It comes with the blisters, everybody. Again, 4116 on a pocket knife, that's a decent, okay, I don't mind that for a pocket knife. I would take the 8CR13 MOV first. I'd rather resharpen it a little bit and not have a broken blade or a chipped up blade. That's me. But if you wanted to put that in a pocket knife, sure, but it certainly shouldn't cost $80. And if it's a higher end locking mechanism and stuff like that, then don't do it. You bump that thing up to $100 and put a good blade steel in it, or keep it down at $80 and put the 8CR13 MOV or an AUS 8. Right? I do not like this. So I just feel like that lock is just going to be a recipe for disaster. It looks too boxy and it looks overbuilt, which is good because Cold Steel is known for that. But overbuilt doesn't mean well designed. Cold Steel has always been excessively well designed. Now, I'm looking at blade steels that I like. Okay. Price points that are okay considering the blade steel. Yeah. Okay. Good. I still don't know about this lock because, again, I'm thinking there's going to be a huge blister factor on this. All right. And look at, there's a swoop on the blade geometry of this, but it's way too far up to actually feasibly, comfortably put your thumb up there. I have a Swift that has a similar design right there, but it's not that far up the blade. It's back more. So you can actually comfortably put it there. But I don't know whose hand this is designed for, or is it just put there to look cool? My guess is it's put there to look cool. So then, again, like, I don't know about this. It looks like it rocks back, and I bet you could do a similar thing with a switch on the side, the way the old Recons and with the old Voyagers were. And if that's what you're going for, then great. But I can't imagine that locking mechanism is so strong that it's going to be way stronger than the Triad lock. Just go with the Triad lock and you'll have a more comfortable blade. Here's some that looks like it has a Triad lock. Decent price point, horrible steel. And again, I mean, a little bit better, a little more suited for the purpose of this blade steel, sure, but I'm not entirely certain. If I'd want that, when I still would think the 8CR13 MOV would be better. I definitely would think that. AUS 10 for $130 for a Verdict that looks kind of like a Recon, but with a different, slightly different contours for the handle. This might be cool, but I already got Recons and stuff, and I got Voyagers, so really I'm not going to get it because it does not fill anything doesn't feel any need or anything that I don't already have, right? So this is an issue with Cold Steel. I feel like they have lost their best designers. Did Jason Heck and Ron Balicki and all of those guys just leave too? Or did they retire? Maybe they retired. Maybe Robert retired. That's okay. I get that. A lot of these aren't actually new. Like the Hungarian Saber, I don't think that's actually new. Mini Recon 1 Spear Point. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's cool. I got the Double Safe Hunter for my nephew. I'm one of the last times I'll probably be used, by the looks of it. S235V, that's a good blade steel, but then that price, oh dear Lord, man, who's spending this? I'm not. And I'm a hardcore fan. Look at this. I can't stand the blade steel. I can't stand 4116. I really don't even know why it's in there for Cold Steel, except for their $30 knives that were corrosion resistant and relatively decent for standard cutting tools. Nothing cool and tactical or anything like that. It just was workhorses. But even then, I still prefer what these guys are made out of. I actually prefer. I know it's considered a lower quality steel. Oh, they don't have it on here. Oh, 8CR13 MOV. But it's honestly better. I think people need to rethink what they think about it. If it doesn't harden up, then it still's actually going to handle the things you put it through, especially for these large knives. Like I said, if you like 4116 on this one, the 2.5 inch Engage, I don't know about the lock, man. I'm not certain about this, but I'd be willing to try it if they can put out some proof videos showing how exactly it works. Why would a martial artist want it? Why would a hunter want that? Why sell me, guys? There's been very little just selling me. It's all been just like riding on Lynn's legacy on the new stuff. So smartly designed. I see 0 smart designs. Ensures consistent and secure lockup. Wow, I've never had an issue with almost any lockup of any knife I've ever had, honestly, because I never bought drugstore knives and stuff, so at least folding knives. Yeah, I just don't know. But I mean, if you wanted it on this, if you wanted the 4116 on this, okay, reasonable. I don't care for the steel. I'd rather something else. I'm not going to buy it, but someone else, if they like the 4116, that's fine. Again, for hard use and everything, I see that hurting. I see that shape right there on the spine from that locking mechanism bothering me a lot. I see that putting blisters if you're whittling. I see that rubbing on the webbing of your thing on between your thumb and your index. If you're doing fine work or skinning strokes and stuff, I really don't know about this, man. For prolonged use, for people like me that use these things a lot, all the time, a lot of days, when I do use knives, I use them consistently throughout the day. Opening many, many, many bags of mulch, things like that. I can see that sucking after, an hour of use. So that's my opinion. Maybe, Cold Steel's still looking okay with things like these traditional. What are we looking at? Like this, it's still 1055, right? So I mean, but that's actually not that new of a product. So a lot of these have been on here since 2 years ago, so these aren't new, really. That Arkansas toothpick, that's been on there for a long time. Maybe those are cool, the 4Max and all that stuff. These are a lot of these things that are considered new are still sellout models. So everything that I would buy, like that drop forge Bowie, look, $130 for a big drop forge Bowie. Yes, awesome knife. Look at this thing. Is this going to be 4116? No. Look, there's Stickman. I don't know. I don't want to make fun of him too much for things that he thinks are fun. But he's making it easy with not really doing these knife designs justice and stuff. Where's the product description? Come on. Specifications. Thank you for not putting the specifications on here. Okay, so far as I knew, all the drop forge stuff were a carbon steel of some sort. I don't remember, but what is going on here, man? Okay, being forged a piece of steel, startling amount of strength. Now I'm worried. I don't know. Watch this be corrupt. I'd be so mad. But last I knew, these were like one of the higher carbon steels. Wow. What's going on here, guys? I swear, they must have paid someone for that review. That's funny. Okay. Notify me when available. Man, why are none of these available? Okay, so that sucks. That there's no. But last I knew, those were a higher carbon steel. Oh my lord, $764. I want to get some tie lights. But again, those are the old designs, so maybe I'll spring on those, but I'm not buying these new designs. Dude, consult me, man. Call the Travis Show. I got some ideas for you. Like, man, I'll keep my ear to the ground, but I'm switching over to Spyderco for EDC stuff, GCS for traditional looking knives, and I can't even do SOG. I went and got some SOG knives recently, and then they got bought out by the same guys. So unless you're going to tell me you're going to take like the Triad lock and put it in with like a seal pup folder, which would be fucking awesome, with a good blade steel and a decent price point, by the way, that actually still worries me. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion, guys. This could be a very cool knife, these Razortech knives, if they were a better blade steel. Honestly, not even much better. You put an AUS 8 or an AUS 10 and keep that price the same, I'll buy one tomorrow. Seriously. I love everything else about it. I actually really like that. I love that. There's a lot of wins on this knife for me. I love modding, so I could take those scales off and put my own new scales on. That'd be great. Guys, just think a little more, man. There has to be a thought and a purpose for every scratch on that blade. A thought and a purpose for everything. That's my advice. Let me know if you like this video format. Have a good day.